Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Crafting Some Ambience. Welcome back and thank you so much for returning to craft with me again. If you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is Kerry, I'm from the UK and I share my weekly crafts with our community here and I hope you enjoy spending some time with me. I've got a lovely friend at a social group that I attend every week and she knows who she is. And in our WhatsApp groups we have a craft group and she went and made a beautiful box that looked like a cake and I loved that. I was inspired by what she did. I did check with her. I really want to make one and she said she can't wait to see what I do. So is I seeing what I can do. She took us through what she did and she's a really good teacher with stuff like that. She explains it really well. So I went out when I visited my daughter where she is in university and bought the items. I got this box from the works. They'd done like heart boxes and things for Valentine's, but this was the one that was more suitable that day when I was in. Just hinge, simple clasp, and then this is an empty trifle bowl. It's a good excuse to eat trifle. And I have some regular filler, ready mixed filler even, I cheated, from B&M's, and I've just put enough yellow ochre paint in it where I think if it dries lighter I'll still be pleased and it'll still look like sponge cake. I'm just going to put a bit more in and you literally just put the acrylic paint in and mix it all about. So I'm hoping that this will do a thin coating all around the sides of the box for the base colour, because I've not decided yet whether I want to do like a Victoria sponge or a lemon drizzle. But either way, we need it to be fairly vanilla sponge coloured. And I think that's okay for that. So I'm going to be very careful of not sealing my box shut. Whether that happens or not, you know, we shall see. This is just one of my art and craft painting palette knives. It's nothing that I'd ever put near a kitchen ever again. So please don't use anything that you use in your kitchen for this craft. Because of course the filler is not edible, it is toxic. Also check the instructions on your filler for how you use it, how you save it, how you store it. There'll be length of time, airtight, temperature, there'll be all kinds, and it'll differ by brand. So have a good look. And we're just trying to make it as smooth as we can. I think I've made too much now, really, but hey ho. I want to spread it onto each side. I mean, this having fairly straight sides as well is quite nice, because it does push on then like a dream, and then I'll be able to go back over it in a second. Obviously with filler as well, you can't just leave it in the bowl forevermore. You've got to clear anything that you want to keep afterwards. You've got to clear of the stuff, or you won't be keeping it, because it'll have set like filler does on walls. So yeah. So this craft knife, for example, will be cleaned as soon as I finish this stage. Once we get this base coat on, it's going to have to dry. Again, how long it takes to dry depends on your brand of filler. Also things like how hot or humid your house is, how much water there is in the earth, things like that. I'm going to put mine on a warm windowsill, and I'm going to turn my dehumidifier on to give it a little hand. Right, so on this level, I'm just going to run the knife over and just try and make it look nice and smooth, or at least as smooth as I can, because I'm not a plasterer. Not. That side might actually do with some more of the mix. This side is fine, but could do with a smooth. I'm just making sure that nothing remains on that edge where the box is gonna shut, and that there's nothing coming over there. And now we can do the same on the lid. But I'm being extremely careful on the bit that's gonna be next to one another, not to I mean, I have done basic filler jobs in my house before, but you know, it's been when you're decorating and you just fill a picture hole or something, but this is quite different. you actually need this to look quite nice. Oops. Okie dokie. Yeah, I did far, I did far too much of this. However, as anyone who knows me knows, I'm not very good at judging sizes and quantities, so and I was thinking, oh, but if I don't make enough and then I make some and it's not the same colour, so I'm just trying to smooth it all in one direction on the top so it looks nice. I mean, obviously if you have an absolute shocker of a dint somewhere, you can cover it with the next stages, which will be things like making it look like cream and things like that. So it is forgiving. And some texture is good because, you know, it's meant to be a cake, isn't it? You know. Okie dokie. I'm going to leave it open a jar just in case there's loads of the stuff between where the hinges are. I can't. Yeah, just flip this through. No, don't shut on it. Again, I'm just getting anything that might seal it shut. There we go. Right. I shall see you when it's dry. In a bit. Hello. So, our base sponge is dry, and I've just done like some buttercream or cream around. I think we're going to go Victoria sponge. Be quite nice. I'm going to do like a bead of jam amongst that soon, but that'll be when I can colour it. So the next stage is going to be using a piping bag to pipe some little rosettes of cream or buttercream that I will then make like little raspberries or strawberries or something out of polymer clay, possibly, to put on. So we are going to get our filler. Oops. This little plastic palette knife is at times a little flexible for when you're trying to get a big dollop. So we shall see. Just see how we get on. I am quite impressed though with how this filler has been to work with. I'm glad for the first time of using it I cheated and got a ready-made one, just to take the quality of the mix out of the equation.
squeeze it down.
It's like I'm milking a cow.
Let's see if
it's coming.
hey. So all the filler squidged down,
And let's do some little rosettes of cream. Ooh, I like that. So, squeezing throughout, around to the middle, stop squeezing and pull up until it peaks. So, around, into the middle, one last squeeze, and then it's just like trying to pull it away, not in one big pull, like several little ones until it gives in. Around, into the middle, one last squeeze, and boop, boop, boop. Oh. Around, into the middle, one last squeeze, boop, boop, boop. That one was a bit flat. Around. Sorry guys, I have to do this or I'll forget how to do it. One last squeeze, into the middle. Hey! Let's do a big one in the middle. Around and around and into the middle and around, going upwards. Ooh, into the middle. Bop, bop, bop. It's better than it could have gone. Let's put it that way. I think I ran out of filler. I'll be honest with you, I didn't think that was going to go that well. I thought I was going to be a bit clumsy with that. Let's milk the cow again. And we'll do some little teensy tiny ones. Yeah, man. Ooh. Yesterday I kept going to be using too much filler, and today I
keep going to not using enough filler. We are all or nothing. Come on. Obviously, once you've used filler in the piping bag, you can't use it for anything. Even if you think you've washed it, you can't use it for anything that isn't crafting. Because of course the chemicals contained in filler are toxic to humans. Ooh. Ooh. Yeah, we went a bit strange with that one. Mine's gone a bit mad, but that's looking at it now because my intentions are to do a run of jam around the buttercreamy bit, and then on these put a polymer clay fruit when I've made them. And I think what I'll do is I'll make the polymer clay fruits, bake them, varnish them, and then I'll glue them on. I'll let these dry first because I want them to dry nicely. And with it being my first time of doing it, I don't know which order to do it best in, so we shall see. I mean, in theory, if I'd have put the polymer clay fruits on there, it might have set onto it, but I don't know. I'm just going to glue them properly so that they stay on. So this needs to dry, and make sure you clean your palette knife and things properly so that you can use them in future before the stuff dries. And then in the meantime we'll get cracking on some polymer clay fruit. See you in a bit. Okay, we are back. We're going to make some clay fruit for the cake, and we're also going to make like a fruit bowl still life out of this dry clay because I got really inspired when I was walking down the high street. It's not exactly local to me, but it's local enough. And I just had to look. I did have a look at the polymer clay I got for Christmas, but it's a little bit stiff. So I think rather than struggle and waste it, I'd rather use this today, order some clay conditioner and try and soften it with that. It was only a cheap set just to have a go, but we shall see. So I'm just softening these little balls of clay, and for the cake I thought we'd put like some berries and fruits around where we'd put the cream. So I'm just trying to shape it in my hand to look quite strawberryish. I want it to like, that's it, get a wide base. And then what I think would be good is to cut it into halves. So you've got half a strawberry and kind of like draw the middle a bit, draw the little seeds. I'm not putting the leaves on because whilst it always looks aesthetic, I can't eat the leaves. And one of my tendencies is don't put anything on my plate if I can't eat it. And I'm just making that like suggestion at the top as well where it's been hulled. So there's a couple of strawberries. I think we'll try a couple of raspberries. And they need to be a little bit smaller than the strawberries. I'm going to make like a central berry shape. And then with some water, stick little balls. They are quite large, quite large balls. And they do only have to be on the sides that won't be stuck down. I am finding clay really relaxing. I'm on the DAS clay again today, but I've taken delivery of 12.5 kilos, as you do, so I can make lots of fun things. So that'll be fun to break into that and see what happens. Oops. Oops. Oh, sack the juggler, come on. And then a little bit of middle. And I'll paint these so that they look nice when they're dried through. Not sure how big to make the middle bit now. Yeah, I think the middle bit was all right. It was just I need to refine the outer bit. Let's roll it a little thinner so that as I break pieces off, they're already a little smaller. I absolutely love berries and citrus fruits. I love apples. We have an apple tree in the garden and it's lovely getting fresh apples from the tree. And it's a good excuse to bake something yummy as well, isn't it, when they're all fresh? Because my family like apple pies, apple crumble, Eve's pudding. My daughter quite likes it in her porridge. I quite like some stewed with in yogurt and granola, to be honest, as well. It's quite nice like that. And I like plums and nectarines. I'm not a big tropical fruit person. Not into it. Which fruits do you like? And is there anything you particularly look forward to in the year where you think, oh, you know, it's nearly time for a particular fruit to come into season? Or okay. Might do another strawberry actually. Because that went fairly well. And I do love strawberries. So let's get a nice base. Nice flat base. Cone to the top. Chop it in half. Markings for the middle, markings where it's hulled, seeds, and then that will make things a bit easier when I come to paint it. Markings in the middle, markings for the hull, and the seeds. There we go. So I don't actually like blueberries, but I think I'll make some. So round and a little four-way dent for where it's been picked. So round ball, 1, 2, 3, 4, done. Might do another couple of them. I do also, it technically is a fruit. I do also love it when the tomatoes are ready in the garden, because there's nothing like a fresh tomato off a plant. Although funnily enough, I won't be putting them in a fruit salad. So let's do another couple of raspberries while we've got while we've got 4 of things. You know, let's not break the pattern. Unbelievable. we are quite lucky with that row of shops that are still left, because there's a butcher, a grocer and a fishmonger. There's some supermarket chain, wider grocery shops, there's a chemist, there's hardware store and things. And yet, if it wasn't for having those locally, you'd have to go a long way. And if you were at a time of your life where you weren't well enough to be doing a lot of driving or busing, and you weren't in a financial position to do taxis, you know, I know you can get your shopping delivered, but some people like to pick things for themselves and stuff. You know, I know needs must, but it's so nice having local amenities. There's even an optician's, there's a chiropodist, there's a hearing place, and not many people nowadays have that locally like that. Because with the way that modern life is, things have either closed down post-COVID because that changed habits a lot, or there are certain things which haven't really thought about local businesses. I mean, we're really lucky that the hardware shop, the butchers, the greengrocers, the fishmongers and the opticians are still, and the funeral directors actually, are still independent businesses. One of the chain shops is a locally established company. So even though it's larger, they do a lot of good work in the community. They let the staff have Christmas and Easter bank holidays off, things like that. And you know, an independent opticians and chiropodists and hearing company, you know, even those are getting quite eaten up. So if we can, we should use them, because with business rates and energy costs and charges for banking and branches closing, and you know, it's just making vital independent businesses struggle. There's so many things now.
So here we are a few days later. We're just gonna paint the first layer with the lightest and brightest shades on the first layer, and then build detail as we go along. I am really pleased with how they dried and ended up. I've chosen which side that I'm going to stick them on to the cake with, and I'm going to leave that blank so that it's just the clay and the glue kind of. I'm sure it'll be fine, but it's not going to be seen, and I'm just keeping it as simple a surface for the glue to cure to as I can. I am doing strawberries, which I love. We used to have a strawberry plant in my childhood garden, and I was always
check in to see if there was some to pinch of the plant. If it wasn't the birds, it was me. Sorry, Grandma. I've also done some raspberries. I adore raspberries, especially with either a raspberry and hazelnut cake or a lemon tart, or I particularly like raspberry overnight oats. I'm going to do some blackberries. We like going blackberrying, and it's always lovely to see my family enjoy apples from our tree and blackberries from blackberrying, and make apple pie or apple crumble. And blueberries, confession, I don't actually like blueberries. But I wanted another shape and another colour, so I went for it. What's your favourite fruits? My real favourite fruits are definitely lemons and oranges and limes. I am a citrus girl. But strawberries and raspberries then are, and peaches are next. Apples and pears as well. Really like that. My oh my, this video is making me hungry. I could really have a slice of cake right now. And I'm sorry if I'm making you feel the same way. I might have to get the baking equipment out and bake us a cake later. I'm sorry if you just heard a sneeze. My husband's home and he's got a very loud sneezy cold at the moment, which I'm hoping we get rid of before we go and visit our daughter again, because I don't want to pass it on. But here we are, nearly done on the strawberries. I find these little repetitive painting jobs quite therapeutic though. I don't actually mind doing them. I know some people like little bitty repetitive things, drive them up the wall, but they do if they become, a ridiculous amount. So like, I absolutely get how when people are doing roof shingles, I see them and I'm like, oh me, oh my, I mean, that's dedication, because I don't know if I could make myself do that many in such a short space of time. It would probably drive me round the bend. But these, there's only like 4 of each. It's not too bad. And the little spur cream blob thing that I piped on the greaseproof paper was brilliant actually for seeing if they, oh, husband's in the background, seeing if they are dried all the way through. Because of it being loose, you could see from both sides, and you could make sure that central part was really dried through before we started mucking about with anything else. I'm getting absolutely covered in paint, and I really do have quite a few sensory issues with my hands. I'm sure a lot of you do too, but yeah, I was beginning to feel a bit, bit itchy and on edge by this point, but I do keep going and washing my hands regularly, so it won't be too bad for too long. And I'm usually not having to paint something that I'm literally holding, and you've literally got to have your hands where you're painting to get it done, kind of. And you'll have to excuse my nails because I took my nail varnish off because a couple of my nails broke. You know where they break like about halfway down? Yeah. So I took the nail varnish off, and I'm hoping that it'll grow enough so that when it all comes off, it's not terrible. But at the moment I have a very tender and dodgy thumbnail, and I don't mean for the video. And it's a good job that red's one of my favourite colours, isn't it? Because there's quite a bit of red going on. The mug that I have my water in, I actually painted that at a pottery painting centre and had it glazed. There is a couple of imperfections though underneath, so instead of using it to drink from, I use it to wash my paintbrushes in. As you do. I've gone for initially quite a bright, intense blue for the blueberries, and then we'll add dark shades and shadows once that first layer has dried off a little bit. And oh, he's back. If you see a shadow, it's because husband was making breakfast while this was going up. We've had a couple of very busy weeks at Ambience House, so we are trying to juggle a lot of different things all at the same time, and I didn't want to stop the progress of filming this while it is something that you can do a stage and then it has to dry, do a stage and it has to dry, and I didn't want to delay filming anything for you all, because I hope you're enjoying the videos, and and I like sharing things with you all. It's becoming a really lovely community, and I love hearing about your pets and what you're doing for the weekend and what you're doing for occasions and what you like and what your hobbies are, and I find it all super interesting, and it really is lovely that people are engaging and connecting with the channel, and I really, really appreciate every one of you. Lots of purple for the blackberries, and getting in all the tiny little gaps so that it's not purple and a big white bit in between the balls of clay that I'd stuck on. Otherwise, I mean, I know that people are going to look at this and they know it's not real, but you want it to look as neat as possible, don't you? Oop. Once all the paint goes on it, it does get a bit slippery, especially when you're fingers that paint on as well, and they're slippery. I have paused filming a few times and gone and just given my hands a little scrub, because things were either going to cross with the colours or things were beginning to ping everywhere. Yeah, like that. But I just got these last two done because I was on the home straight, I was winning. I hope you've all had a wonderful week. I wonder what you're creating at the moment. Let me know in the comments, because I'm super interested what you're making and what you're enjoying. What are you looking for inspiration? Have you found the changing season inspiring with your arts and your crafts? I've been loving seeing the flowers coming back in the garden. We've got the daffodils and the snake's head fritillaries. The crocuses have gone, but you know, things are moving. Just doing the little light yellow seeds in the strawberry. I've done it hulled without the leaves because I'm a bit fussy about not putting things that you don't eat on food. So I will occasionally leave a bone in something if I absolutely have to. But generally I do take away absolutely anything, any shells, any bones, any leaves that we don't eat, things like that. Because it's just one of those, it's partly an autistic preference, but it's also an OCD thing that I don't want to feed anybody a meal and they either choke on something or they don't know they shouldn't eat those leaves and then they eat them or something, you know. It's an OCD thing as well. It's definitely also very anxiety driven. And now we're off to have a cup of tea while it dries. Tick-tock. Here we go. Gonna do some of the original blue mixed with a little bit of the purple to darken it up a little bit on my handy dandy new air dry clay and resined mixing palette. I thought it needed a bit of brown, then I went, oh no. And then I thought, oh yeah, okay. So we're going in to where we've taken the leaves away, and then we're just doing a few little lines to suggest shadow and roundness. And then we're rolling it all over the table because we're so delicate and graceful. And then again. And you might have noticed my shadow moving then, because one of our garden birds made a very sudden dash, and I was wondering if they were okay, and they were fine. They just got startled by a very overzealous pigeon, as you do. So we're trying to make this purple a bit darker. And different enough for a bit of contrast with the gaps in between the berries and like a little swoosh on each of the little clay balls are stuck on for a little bit of light and shadow, a bit of contrast and difference. It's difficult to see here, but close up it's absolutely worth doing. And there's one. Oop, throwing things again. Now we're going to make a stronger red. And I had a bit of trouble with this. I did have a darker red paint, but I ran out of it. So I was trying to muck about with what I had. But things got quite orangey, and then yeah, it was quite a process. It'll be varnished and done by the time I go and get more paints, but if I did it over, I'd wait till I had that shade. So I'm tweaking it again because I've still got the ump with it. And there might have been a few faces pulled by this point. Which is one of the reasons I don't usually put my face on the channel, because I can't make my face lie. And sometimes when I do concentrating faces, they're quite interesting. And I mean, I'm sure we all have focus features and things, you know. But when it comes to putting those on Tinternet, you know, it can be another thing. One takeaway though was I was quite glad of how I found the mixing palette. It did great. I'm fairly new to resin, so it was nice that when I'd used resin as a varnish, it had actually done good. So we're just doing some shadowing on the strawberry, on the sides and in the middle, in the centre, and making sure I balance them on the unpainted side so that they can dry. And we're nearly done. One more, and then we can let them dry and stick them on. I'm going to use super glue so that they stay stuck really well. I suppose you could use hot glue and things like that, but I just wasn't sure about hot glue with the filler. It can have little strings, can't it? So I thought I might struggle tidying up those areas because of the space between the piped blobs, for want of a better word. So I'm just going to put a little dash of super glue on the unpainted side and position them on. And then it'll be a little touch up for a little bit of chrome, a little bit of contrast with the sponge being a baked sponge, you know. So, time to let it dry. Tick tock, here we go again. Was in a much more cramped filming space for this one, so it's very close up, but I am using different tones of yellow ochre with burnt sienna, and sometimes more yellow ochre, sometimes more burnt sienna, and I'm just with the tiniest bit of paint on the brush, just dabbing across, kind of like just picking up where there's bumps in the spackle and letting that become like a crumb, because I figured that would make sense because the oven would pick up on those bits. I had logic at the time. Sometimes though, you know, creative brain takes over logic brain. And it's just very loose all the way around. I had a lot going on in the house that day, so it had to be very, just put a little phone stand up and crack on. But I thought, well, it was only a little quick job, it wasn't the end of the world. I'd also did a purple line across the spackle. Ooh, reveal time. Ta-da! See, I just want cake now. Tea and cake. Oh, I'm going to go and put the kettle on. Thank you so much for watching.